Okay, I'm ready. Are you guys ready? So welcome back to Brent Durand Underwater. I had this great idea, which is to talk about how I carry my camera. So we get asked that question here and there and want to address it. There's a few different ways I carry my camera depending on what I'm doing. So let's kick the intro, let's do this quick tip. What is the best way to carry your underwater camera system? A lanyard, hands down. The best way, the easiest way to carry your underwater camera and housing from the camera room to the dive center or to and from the edge of the dive boat. Anywhere you're carrying your camera, the lanyard is going to help. All you do is you attach it to 2 points on the camera, you pick it up, the whole system comes with you. All the dive staff at the resort or at the dive operator are going to know exactly where to carry your camera and know that you've told them it is safe. And basically the lanyard is very simple. It is a piece of rope, sometimes it's covered in a piece of plastic to make it more ergonomic, but with 2 clips. And the different clips are done different ways. There are a number of housing manufacturers that make these lanyards, so pick up one that makes sense for you. Personally, I make my own with these little mini carabiner clips, not rated for climbing, but with a little single fisherman's knot and 2 of these cheap clips, just a couple dollars at the hardware store, and I've made my own lanyard. If you guys want to see how to do that, leave comments and I'll film another video on how to make your own homemade lanyard. It's very versatile. So in addition to just being the handle that you'd clip off for holding your camera system, I use it on my shoulder sometimes. If I'm gonna go snorkeling or free diving and don't have my BCD to clip the camera off to, then I will use that, over the shoulder as a mount. And then you can also mount it various other places. So some cameras you can mount it down at the housing base. I tend to prefer mounting mine up here these days, just because it keeps the strobes nice and tight. They don't flop all over the place. So if you have a smaller camera system, let's say you have a compact camera with a single light, generally these are pretty easy to carry with your hands. They're very secure. Dive staff and dive operators are going to know to grab it at the base of the handle. But you could also attach some sort of lanyard to the system to make it easier if you feel that's necessary. One thing to point out is that if you are diving and not guaranteed to hold onto your camera, you want some sort of lanyard system to help attach your camera to yourself. Now, I used to use a Cetacea brand BUNGEE lanyard, and that was really nice. It could keep the camera tight, but then also have a bungee so I could stretch the camera and even drop it in the water column if I needed to assist another diver or something. And that always kept the camera connected to me. With the diving I do, 90% of it in California shore diving, what I do is I tend to free hold my camera. If I do anticipate some sort of situation where I want to clip it off, I'll do this and clip clip it off to my BCD. Let's say I'm going to ascend a boat line and there's stiff current and I see, a couple of weaker divers or newer divers that might not be as comfortable doing a stop and current. I might do this preemptively, just okay, I may have to let go, and then I'll just clip this off. But for the most part, I tend not to worry about that, but do recommend the Cetacea BUNGEE lanyards for securing your camera to you. Now for beach diving, it's totally separate. I won't use this lanyard. Instead, what I have are clips on the camera at the top of the handles, and also 2 clips that are on my BCD. And I simply clip from the trunk of the car or the picnic table, wherever I'm gearing up. And now the camera's attached to me. So if my hand's free, I'm able to grab rocks as I'm slipping and sliding over the rocks to get into the water and that sort of thing. Hands are free, can hold fins, can hold mask, can help a buddy, whatever I need to do with my hands, they're right here. So for beach clips, you'll see in detail in the shot I'm showing you now how these are done. The one side is attached to the top of the handle at the start of the ball mount. The other side is attached to my BCD, and they just clip on and off. Very simple to use. I stopped using the key rings because they started to bend over time as you're slowly logging those miles to and from dive sites, up and down cliffs and things. They start to bend. So the rope tends to be more robust and it's also softer, and I just prefer to do things with rope a little bit when I can. And there's one last piece to cover here too. If you're taking your camera regularly to and from a dive site and bouncing it around, if the conditions might be a little rough, what you may want to do is use a cooler bag. So I also use this for all my shore diving. You'll see it's nothing special. literally just a cooler. And with that, I put the whole camera system inside, and it pads it from hitting other cameras. It protects it from dust if it's a dusty place. And all around, it's just really good for transporting the camera system. So on a lot of dive boats and things, I'll bring that bag. I always bring it in the car, and it keeps the camera safe. Another thing you may want to do is look at a Tupperware. If you do a lot of beach diving, I have this very simple Tupperware here, and the camera goes inside with water, and I will put lukewarm water in there before I head out diving. And then when I'm done with my dive, I plop the camera in there, I can work some of the buttons, and the camera soaks while I'm driving home. By the time I get home, pull the camera out, dry it, work the water out of the buttons, and I'm good to go. Saves some time, saves a step if you're starting to dive a lot and fit it in before and after work. It's pretty useful, pretty practical. But you got to be careful it doesn't spill too much water in your trunk. So, note to self. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful. Hit that subscribe button if you like the tutorials, want to see more. Leave a comment if you have questions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.